Revelation, that the angels are the very agents of God to bring wrath, the wrath of God on a Christ-rejecting world. We see that unfolding in the book of Revelation. And I guess it would be natural to think that it will continue into the kingdom age. You know, God first, angels second, man third, and then cats and dogs somewhere after that, right? We kind of see that hierarchy going on, don't we? But as amazing and as significant as angels are right now in this kingdom age, things differ somewhat in that kingdom age. They really do. And this is what the message of the writer of Hebrews wants believers to understand. You know, we've got that saying, we say it all the time. We might have it on a coffee mug or a tea mug or whatever. We might have it somewhere. The best is yet to come, right? We have that, don't we? God's plan has always been for you, child of God, to reign with him. Isn't that an amazing thought? Don't ask me. Don't ask me to explain it. Don't ask me to describe it. Don't ask me even to understand it fully. But God's plan has always been for man, for his children to reign with him. Not as equals, no, certainly not, but with him. You know, God will always be the sovereign God of the universe, but redeemed man's destiny is to be with him. Revelation chapter 5 talks about as he has made us a kingdom, a nation of priests and kings, right? See it again at the end of the book of Revelation. So I want you to consider something with me this morning. Hebrews 2 that we have read, it says in verse 6, but one in a certain place testified saying, what is man? I'm going fast because I know the clock is ticking. But what is man? Saying, what is man that you are mindful of him, or the Son of Man that you take care of him? At verse 3 of Psalms chapter 8, when I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you ordained, what is man that you are mindful of him? Have you ever asked that question? What is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visit him? Now, when this psalm was given to the psalmist, he was contemplating the awesomeness of the night sky. And he became overwhelmed with the greatness and the majesty of God. I mean, you can put yourself in that place with the psalmist, don't you? I think we often do, don't we? Laying out there at night time, looking at the stars, the creation out there. It is so immense. It is so intense, right? And God, Psalm 104 tells us that he cast it there. He created it and he put it there. It's an amazing thought, isn't it? Right? All of these stars, this is what I want you to think with me. All of these stars, as you gaze up there tonight, lying outside in that beautiful clear sky that we always have in Albany, right? All of the possible worlds. And here you lie, right? Gazing at the infinite, the innumerable, the immeasurable, and the seemingly, well, we know it's not, the eternal. And as you do that, if you sit there and you meditate upon its expanse and its greatness and the fact that God put it there for you and I, you will feel insignificant. Just think about it, just a small speck of dust on a pebble of a planet that is cruising around some petty little star. That's us, right? Yet here I am, a little less than 6 foot high, right? I might live 80 years if my family pattern goes to plan, right? But I'm nothing in the scheme of things. Nothing, right? But here it is, in the infinite dark expanse, on this pebble-like planet, God focus on me. God focus on you. Why? That he might express his love to us. That's why. Out of the thousands, out of the billions of stars, I don't know, the number keeps on going up, but out of the billions of stars, he has chosen this puny little sun, hasn't he? This puny little sun, he chose this tiny ball that is flying around our sun, and he chose this 6 foot, less than 6 foot little creature. You have to ask the question, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visit him? That is, that you take, when it says that you visit him, that you take care of him, right? Now here's the thing. The psalmist asked this question already knowing the answer, right? It was because it was spelled out to him in the book of Genesis. He already knew the answer. Let me read it to you. Genesis chapter 1, familiar passage. In verse 26 it says, "And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, over the cattle, over the earth, and over every living creature, everything that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. God blessed them. And God said unto them, "Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living creature that moves upon the earth." You see, the psalmist marveled that God had given man dominion over his creation. That's what he was marveling about. "For you have made him a little lower," verse 5 says in that psalm, "lower than the angels, and you have crowned him with glory and honour. You made him to have dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet." That's how it was. A little lower than the angels. That is in the sense that we're earthbound. Man was earthbound. But think again, Adam and Eve were crowned with glory and honour. Again, you go to Psalm 104 and it talks about the presence of God and how God was crowned, was clothed in light, you know. And many will come to the conclusion that Adam and Eve, created in the image and likeness of God, were likewise clothed in that same glory. Adam and Eve, crowned with glory and honour. They were king and queen of the entire creation. And if they had not fallen, you know what? We would be living right now with them in that, crowned with that same glory and that same honour. Now that's all I can say about that, right? My little brain goes like that. A world of kings and queens, a world where absolutely all of creation would be under the dominion of man. That's God's intention. It always has been the ultimate plan. But as we know, and the writer of Hebrews tells us, jumping backwards and forwards here, I'm sorry, but as the writer of Hebrews tells us in verse 8 of chapter 2, you have put all things in subjection under his feet, that's man's. For in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him, but now we do not see all things put under him, he says. I mean, most of us can't control our cats and our dogs, right? Little less than the whole creation itself. If we control anything, it's by intimidation. Quite frankly. In fact, these days we mostly fear, don't we, what the creation is going to do to us. And that's just reality, right? We live in fear of it, much less have dominion over it. No, we're not what we're meant to be. We're just not there yet. You know, I've said this many times. I say it because I believe it. As a child, there was always something in me that thought I was pretty good. Do you remember that? As a child, there was always something in me that said, you're going to be great one day. Because that's why we're always going to be astronauts. And we're always going to, remember that? You know? We all did, didn't we? Am I the only weird one? I think There's something innate within us that says there is something special about us. Created in the image and the likeness of God, right? Please hear me. This is not arrogant speaking, no. But there is something special. Something beautiful, right? And we generally project it with dreams of being a sports star or a millionaire again, or an astronaut or something like that when we are young, right? Some field of excellence that we just know. We just know that we've got it, right? And for many of us, our eyes were fixed on, again, something spectacular. But as life happened along, most of us began to realise that we're not that special, right? And we're not going to end up on the cover of a magazine. Well, that dates me, doesn't it? No one reads magazines anymore. We're not going to be a YouTube star. Is that better? I don't know. But we gradually come to the understanding that we're just a part of the crowd. That's where we end up, right? And that dream of greatness is finally dismissed as fanciful dreams of childhood, right? And our eyes become fixed upon the daily grind of life, the highs and the lows. And sadly, that becomes life, right? And a man is not what he should be. We're not what we should be. But God has assigned greatness and glory and honour to man. Those verses that we read from Daniel said that dominion of the earth was to be given to one like the Son of Man. It says when God created the first man, he told him to rule the earth. We know the story. And to exercise dominion over the creation. Again, Genesis 1:28, right? Man lost that dominion when he rebelled against God and fell into sin. And that's why the weeds grow, and that's why our pets die. And that's why we die. Right? And one of the reasons that Jesus came was to regain that lost dominion. That dominion was won, if you will, was purchased back, if you will, in the death and the burial and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And the dominion of the kingdom was never promised to the angels. Took me a while to get here, didn't it? It was never promised to the angels, but it has been promised to the Son of Man, that is Jesus Christ, and redeemed man has a part in that dominion. That's who we are. But again, from the very beginning, we messed it up, and man will remain that way until when, people? He comes back. He sees Jesus, and Jesus comes back for him. That spark of greatness that was in the child, I believe, is a remnant of the glory and the honour that our federal head was crowned with in the very beginning. And there is something left in us that tells us we have destiny. We have promise. But we see Jesus, verse 9 of Hebrews says, who was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honour, that he, by the grace of God, should taste death for every man, that is, on behalf of every man. How amazing. Jesus, made a little lower than the angels, he veiled himself in human flesh and tasted death for us that he might procure life for all. Romans 5, verse 19 tells us, for as by one man's disobedience, that is Adam's disobedience, many were made sinners, so as by obedience of one man, that is Jesus, many will be made righteous. But here's the thing, and I don't know if you see this, and I get yelled at for saying this, but here's the thing. Jesus was made a little lower than the angels. When? At his incarnation, right? When he veiled himself in flesh and he veiled himself in humanity and lived amongst us. Jesus was made a little lower than the angels, yet man was created in his image. in his image and likeness. But man was created in his image and likeness that is prior to the incarnation, wasn't it? Right? So you know what that tells me? That tells me that man was actually created superior to the angels, crowned in glory and honour. In the garden, man walked with God, right? Yet when he sinned, great was his fall. Great was his fall. But how great will his final redemption be? Amen? For I reckon, this is Romans 8:18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present day, time, are not worthy to be compared with the coming glory to be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the great creation waits for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creation was not willingly subjected to vanity, but because of him who subjected it on hope, that the creation itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of the corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. And we know that the whole creation groans and travails in pain together until now. And not only so, but ourselves also, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves. What are we waiting for? The adoption, the redemption of our bodies. These verses should comfort us. When we receive the fullness of our inheritance, that's what the adoption is. The adoption is the glorification of our bodies. When we will be restored with glory and honour. Isn't that amazing? See, these verses were written to believers that were truly struggling in this age, right? And they were written to these beleaguered children of God, these embattled children of God, these drifting children of God, children of God who felt themselves completely insignificant in a world that was hating them, a world that was trying to destroy them, right? And these verses are to remind them, and likewise to remind you and I, we are of infinite value. We truly are. And destiny. Truly we are. We're just a little lower than the angels. Look, the evolutionists are ripping you off. You know that? They tell you that you are a little higher than the monkeys. No. You're just a little lower than the angels right now. But you will be crowned with glory and honour. Everything will be put in subjection unto us. I just wait for that. I don't understand it. I don't know how it's going to play out. But it's always been God's plan. It always has. Do you see Jesus? You see Jesus? He is crowned with glory and honour, isn't he? Right now. He is our promise. He is our destiny. What is he? He is the anchor of our soul. We're attached to him. So don't let him go. Can you say amen? Can you say amen to that? Very good. Amen. All right, that was a rush. I mean, literally, that was a rush. And I don't like rushing on like that. But we're going to move into this next phase of our morning service. Before I do, Johan, that man there, right, is going to be married to that girl holding his arm this coming Saturday. Bronwyn and Johan are going to become one, as God promised. And that is Bronwyn's mum, and I'm assuming that's Bronwyn's dad right next there. Welcome, guys. We are incredibly excited, you know. So I hope you have a wonderful time here in the next week here in sunny Albany. It's going to be glorious. Keep that daughter of yours calm. Protect that future son-in-law of yours. I know what this week is like. I've been there. Be blessed. It's going to be a great day. God bless you guys. So this is how it's going to work. We would normally pause and worship again, and we would pray for one another. We're going to, but we're going to ask if anybody wants to stay and watch these interviews. Please remain. If there's anybody out in the cafe that wants to come and join us for these interviews, please come and join us. If you don't want to remain for it, look, it's not offensive. It's not anything. It's just the perspective. We just need to be cautious. I need to be cautious with young minds. That's all. Where did I get to? Come, go, stay, coffee, yeah. All right. So does look? So let's get ourselves in position now. There are 2 interviews, they're about 10 minutes long. They are edited versions of longer interviews. So if you're interested in finding out